Welcome back to Producer's Toolbox. I'm your host, Carol Adrian, and today we have an awesome program that is targeted to all film and television makers, to crew, to supporters in Philadelphia. I'm going to introduce you to the best friends you filmmakers could possibly have. The Greater Philadelphia Film Office, which has been in existence for more than 30 years, and out of which has come many major Hollywood movies like Rocky, like Philadelphia, like Mayor of Easttown and Hustle recently. Age of Innocence was shot here. And the film office handles both professional Hollywood crews who come in to shoot feature films, television, episodic television shows, and also, and most importantly, to independent filmmakers like me, support of local filmmakers. So we're going to introduce you to the people who are in charge of this incredible organization, Greater Philadelphia Film Office. You'll hear it referred to as GPFO. And that would be Nicole Shiner and Erin Wagner, who are the co-executive directors, and Daniela Galdi, who is the director of the Philadelphia Filmmakers Division. So the GPFO was begun more than 30 years ago and helmed by Sharon Pinkinson and Joan Bressler, with whom these people have worked all along and are carrying on this incredible legacy. So we're going to start with Nicole Shiner. And Nicole has handled so much stuff for me, all the fiscal sponsorship. Nicole, can you give us a little bit of background about the office and kind of an overview of what you guys are in charge of, please?
Sure. GPFO actually started as a pretty basic city permitting office in the 80s. And then in 1992, Sharon created the Philadelphia Film Office, which then a few years later, by around 2000, we spun it off into a nonprofit and it became a regional office. So we cover Philadelphia and the four surrounding counties, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, and Delaware counties. We're a regional film commission, and we promote the entire southeastern PA region to the film industry worldwide for the purpose of creating jobs and bringing production work here and keeping production work here, and also supporting local filmmakers like yourself in all of your jobs and all of your work. So we're an economic development agency, and we market the region, and our biggest marketing tool is our film tax credit program, which I handle mostly in our office. If producers want to learn how to access that program, they can give me a call and I'll walk them through it. We have lots of other parts of the office, which I'll let my colleagues explain more. But one of our favorite parts is our website, and I think that's the best tool for filmmakers is film.org. Really easy to access. That was the advanced thinking of our predecessor, Sharon Pinkinson. Got us a wonderful domain. And it has highlights on it from everything from tax credit information to a job hotline, and a place for crew and support service directory, an event calendar, location directory where you can upload your house locations for your properties. And also producers use it when they are scouting for a show, or when we're pitching a show, we use those locations as well. So there's a little overview of what we do. I'll leave it at that.
Well, Nicole, there's another important function out of the many, and one which has been very helpful to my filmmaking, which is the fiscal sponsorship program. Can you tell us how that works, please?
Yeah, sure. I was going to leave most of our filmmaking stuff to Daniela. It's one of the highlights of our filmmakers program. It's we work with producers who might need a local nonprofit, because the film office is a 501c3 nonprofit. They partner with us as the nonprofit to apply for grants. Oftentimes a grantor will only donate money if it's to a nonprofit. They won't donate to a film project. So they work with what's called a fiscal sponsor, in which case they use us as the applicant. And we receive the funds and we manage the funds, and we disperse them back to the filmmaker when it's time after they've spent the money. So we're essentially in charge responsible for it, to the grantors, and we make sure that it's managed properly. And there is a, administrative fee that we take for that, but mostly you get all of your money back. And also donors like to use us because they get tax write-offs. We'll give you a thank you letter so they can use it at tax time as a donation. Yeah, so.
I'm always explaining this to other upcoming filmmakers because people think I'm not eligible for grant
Yeah,
funding because I'm not a 501c3
yeah,
nonprofit. And
yeah.
it's actually, for such a complex operation, it's really kind of simple in that if you donate to a nonprofit, you get a tax deduction. But if you're not a nonprofit, the film office will serve as your nonprofit and oversee everything and
Mhm.
put the
Yeah.
money in their bank and
Yeah.
disperse it. So
We make it
everything,
really easy. We give them little PayPal buttons so they can put it on their marketing pieces. So we take the money directly. It's all earmarked for those projects. We keep everything separate. It's really well done. So yeah, make it easy for marketing too.
uh,
Yeah.
what are you looking ahead for? I mean, that's pretty exciting. You guys are the first year in these. You've been with the organization for a long time, but it's your first time helming the ship. What are you looking at coming up?
Anybody else wanna jump in? It's been a long year. We've had quite a busy year, Erin and I, getting used to the new positions, although we both started in the office in the early 2000s. So we've been there for quite a while. Yeah, what do we got coming up, ladies?
Well, yeah, Aaron, let's talk because all those fancy Hollywood features that come in under Aaron's aegis. So let's talk about that because there are some big name movies that have been shot iconically in Philadelphia, and they need location scouting, they need releases, they need police protection sometimes. So, Aaron, can you tell us a little about how that aspect of GPFO works?
Sure, sure. It's been, as you probably know, across the board, a little bit of a slow filming time for the industry as a whole. Unfortunately, projects are going overseas to film, but I have to say, I always bring back how busy we are with our robust Indigenous film community, and every day we're working on TV shows, music videos, documentaries, true crime, which is huge right now. We have a couple big projects coming up that are shooting for a few days, and we've had a couple projects over the past year who have been here for only like 3 or 4 days. But that being said, it does bring in a lot of money. It puts a lot of crew to work, just because we're not seeing servant size Apple TV productions on Spruce Street for multiple days at a time doesn't mean that there's not production happening. And I always say we help from students to Spielberg. So anyone who calls our office and they need help with location, just like you said, location scouting, permits, questions that they can't answer that maybe we can't answer, we're usually a pretty good connector. So we will find out the answer to those questions. I like to say we're also a little bit of a therapist, we're a producer. We really try to help any possible way we can. And I think 2026, especially with the 250 celebration coming up, we're going to be seeing so many productions, especially international ones who want to come in here and see what the big hubbub is about Philadelphia, which we already know, FIFA, the All-Star game. I mean, there's so many big exciting, I mean, just right here in our hometown, all of the 250, the art installations, the events, we're trying to wiggle our way in there and work with them. And there's a lot of big things happening. Rocky will be 50. Creed will be 10. There's some things on the horizon. There's some anniversaries that we need to celebrate, and we're trying to insert ourselves and make sure that film is also a cornerstone of this 250 celebration, because Philadelphia is where it is, if you ask me, in terms of filming, and we're trying to become another hub of production, just like New York and LA, and we know what we have to offer, and we're just trying to get it out to the world.
Erin, are there places when these big production companies roll into town? Do they do local hires for any aspects of production?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we push that a lot. And we want the production managers, the producers to know that we have a really well skilled, both union and non union crew base here. And we want them to hire locally. And they do. And we love to put that out there. As Nicole was mentioning about our website, we also have crews and vendors section. Support services are on there. If you need lumber, if you need a grip, if you need production assistance, it's all right there on our website. And we push that out too. And we really encourage productions to post on our job listings page as well, to put the word out there to our local crew to find where these staff, crew, casting, and internship opportunities lay. So
it is a fantastic website. I really encourage everybody to take a look because, as Erin said, if you need vendors, if you need crew, if you need lighting, it's on there. But also, if you're offering those services,
yes.
Available, film.org. That may be one of the most important URLs you have in your arsenal.
Yes.
So,
sure.
Yeah. It sounds like it's not just like they blow into town and they say, we're going to shoot a holdup on South Broad Street. And there's an awful lot that comes into play, right? Where streets have to be closed off, police. What happens, I mean, if they're using even fake guns in public?
Yeah. So we sort of act as I said, the connector, the middle person between city government, local government, police department, all the city agencies that need to be involved. And we get them on board. We usually have a pre-production meeting. We talk about the logistics. We talk about the conflicts. We talk about pretty much everything. Do they need to tap into a fire hydrant to make rain? Do they need to, especially when it comes to sensitive scenes when there are prop weapons involved? It's a little bit more escalated. We have the local police districts involved, not only just PPD headquarters and special events, the city representative's office, the mayor's office. We try to really get the word out there. If it's something really large, there's signage put onto the streets. The more notice, the better. But that's not always the case when it comes to filming. So a lot of times we're doubling back and trying to speed up the process. But I have to say, for the most part, we're pretty good and we know who to call when we need something done ASAP, or if it's super, super involved. The city departments are really, really wonderful, and they're getting very acclimated to filming lingo and what needs to happen. And they know they're always running behind on schedule. So they always say, we should probably schedule the cops for 2 more hours than they're asking. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. We really should. Yeah. So there's a lot of back and forth. My entire morning was a lot of back and forth about a pretty decent sized shoot coming up that was conflicting with a parade that the scope has sort of gotten larger and larger and larger, not of the production of the parade, because usually it's the other way around. So it was a lot of, well, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we use battery operated? We won't use anything. We'll just go up with a camera. And, it's a lot of,
chaos.
Nicole calls me a chaos coordinator, and that's really what I actually saw a shirt that said that I have to get. I am absolutely a chaos coordinator, and on the daily, and it's a lot of frantic phone calls, a lot of problem solving, but it gets my creative juices flowing, and I also know that I have to remember at the end of the day that I am advocating for these productions, but I also have to remember that I have to live and work here and with these departments that I'm trying to not quite grease the wheel, but help glide along, cut the red tape as we go, as most of our marketing material says. And I want to make them happy too, because I want them to welcome filming back. So it's a delicate line, but it also you know, you build relationships this way, and I think they know that we're just the messenger here, but we have to advocate on the side of filming.
Well, in the course of your chaos coordination, I'm curious, can you just give us an example? Like you have to be responsible for companies shooting car chases, right?
That's
That,
correct.
I mean, is that a mess to set up?
Yes, but it's a controlled mess, and out of the magic of movie making, these cars are usually only going. This isn't well. I haven't gotten into the Fast and the Furious franchise yet. Maybe Philadelphia edition. Who knows? But yeah, it is. But these cars are usually going like 25, 30 miles an hour because not only are they, it's usually really nice vehicles, but then they have these very expensive camera rigs on them. So they can't go any more than 25, 30 miles an hour because these camera rigs could be sticking out into the middle of the lane and there's light poles that they could hit. So they have to be very controlled. There's always a stunt driver. We always have Philadelphia police when that's happening. We have worked with it wasn't a chase. It was more of a like a high speed pickup. Someone was driving like a red Corvette and they had to, I think it was for the Upside, if I'm not mistaken. And they had to, which was with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart, which filmed here, funny enough, just this weekend, someone didn't realize that the whole thing was done in Philadelphia. Maybe a couple.
Right, because it looked very much like New York.
Yeah. So there was a high speed pickup and they had to go around the block multiple times. Well, you know what it's like to go around and around in traffic in Philadelphia. Obviously, it was much more controlled, but you also have to think about the pedestrians, the vehicles being stopped, deliveries happening. So there's a lot of communication done by the locations department who are on movies, and they get the word out. But then it comes to our office and we sometimes have to get the Office of Emergency Management involved. We don't want people calling 911 to alert that there's a red Corvette speeding around 16th and JFK. So we try to cut those things off, but it will happen. It will happen once in a while.
It has happened.
We had, I think I might have talked about this last time, Carol. We had a Bollywood movie who was using helicopters with FBI logos on the side, and some managers of buildings in Center City had no idea what was happening. And I think it wasn't too far after, say, 9/11, and people's sensitivities were heightened and they were nervous that there was some sort of raid terrorists so that KYW was flying nearby. It was a little chaotic, but it is a lot of wrangling. It's a lot of scheduling and there's always hiccups. That's what I keep saying. There's always hiccups. There's always problems, but as long as they're solved and I'm not getting 3 a.m. phone calls, I feel pretty good about it.
Did they get the shot?
Yeah.
Well, I have a fangirling question for any of you. Do you guys get to, for people who are wondering, do you get to mingle with the stars? Do you hang with Adam Sandler or Sly or anybody else? Do they factor in, or are they in their trailers and they come out and do the shot?
If you two are, I want to come.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like, hi, we're from the film office. There's, the meet and greets, but no, I'm not hanging out with Adam Sandler at the Ritz bar or anything like that. I wish. But I don't know how everyone, I mean, and it's cool. It's still cool. And it has its, perks and lure to see these celebrities. But sometimes at the end of the day, I just want to go home. Or I am home, but
Oh, good. So you're not getting the diva requests, hopefully.
Not lately, but don't jinx us.
All right. Well, Danielle, let's bring you in. Now you're the newest member of the crew, and you're dealing with the department that so frequently helps me. So how's it looking? How's it feeling? What are you up to?
Yeah, no, Carol, these two, Erin and Nicole have, the efforts that they make, you mentioned about like how much they facilitate. I mean, their facilitation efforts are unending. So I just to be able to make that same impact with everything with the filmmakers division of it. And so, I mean, it's been really nice to come in and be able to meet people and help to, as Erin mentioned, like help advocate on their behalf to help them to get the finances, like you mentioned about fiscal sponsorship, and to be able to make the connections with other people to help get their project finished in different ways, distribution, things like that, and just connect with the community. And I think for like 2026, that's a big goal of the impact is how can we continue to facilitate these jobs, have the office have even more of a hand through our workforce development, through different workshops to the community, different networking events that is also a part of the filmmakers division. And how can we get that and bring more of what has happened in the past back to the community so that they can connect, they can build jobs together, they can build opportunities, they can know what we're here for.
Actually, your division just moved my personal production up about 5 notches because you produced a webinar about dealing with, I've only ever dealt with nonprofits and foundations and PBS kinds of things. And we have a changing climate. So there, you sponsored a webinar that I attended, one of the best $5 I have ever spent.
Good one. It was a really good one.
It was a really good one with Eric Newhouse, who is one of this year's Emmy nominees for documentary. And he was so good that I wrote to him and asked if he would look at my stuff and maybe give me some advice for the next step. And I did, and he did, and he said, I'll be your executive producer. So I heard the angels choir at that point. So we've been working together for the last few months on this, and it's an incredible learning experience. The commercial world is very different from the nonprofit world. So I am learning a lot, and it's nice to work. I always said it's really nice to be in a position where the person who is steering the ship knows where the water is. So it's been wonderful. Now, Danielle, if I am a brand new filmmaker and I want some support, what happens? Do I call you? Do I check out the website? What do you suggest for somebody new and knowing that they really need some serious professional backup?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned film.org is the huge hub. Erin and Nicole have already stressed there's the job directory. There's a lot of listings there. There's the contact form. I mean, just reach out to us. You can reach out to any of us at film.org. Mail at film.org is a general email account. And then we can direct you to who and what you need to do, right? You mentioned about steering the ship. So let's say you're coming in with a question and you're in fiscal sponsorship program and you might have a question about, oh, well, I also need locations. I would direct you to Erin, right? So each of us are going to try to designate you to your desired area. And I want to mention too, with fiscal sponsorship, if anybody can get into that, I think it's a great starting point because you mentioned earlier about not knowing what to do for grants, things like that. And we do require that you submit like a business plan and you submit your budget. And so we can help you along that road to get the approval into the program. And then it's a great way to turn that information around and use to get the funding, to get the grants, to, reach and tap into different type of investors or funding organizations. So I just reach out. That's the easiest way.
That is such valuable information because as anybody who's even shot a short on their iPhone, it's a complicated process and you need releases and you really have to work within the parameters of filmmaking. And it's good when you're on track with something, with budgets, with schedules, with timing, with actors, whatever it is, it really needs to be pretty clearly defined. And knowing what those pathways are is invaluable for a filmmaker because you really want to be able to present a clear, tight package to get to the next step or to get your finished project into broadcast. But it's not as loose as it used to be, and for good reason, really. I mean, and then if you go by the rules, then everybody's protected. Your work is protected. And we've done several shows on intellectual property protection with Penn Law and other organizations. So it sounds like a lot, but it really makes everything simpler. Even like what Erin was saying about setting up for a car chase or, a crazy scene on the streets. You just have to get everything lined up. And if you are a person who deals in precision, it won't be hard. And if you don't like precision, then you really need an associate producer or somebody who does.
Yeah, right.
Because it really is to the benefit of the producer and the entire project. So, do you guys have a last piece of advice for upcoming filmmakers?
Well, I would suggest that if they're upcoming filmmakers, we want them to join our SIP, enter our SIP competition.
That's right. The Joan Bressler Screenplay Competition. Yes.
Yeah, we just renamed it after Joan Bressler, and it opened a couple weeks ago. Our first, Danielle, do you want to tell them a little bit about the deadlines and a little bit more about it? I didn't mean to jump all over it.
Because it was what I was thinking. Another avenue that people can get involved and can get their work out there is this SIP, the Set in Philadelphia. Excuse me, the Joan Bressler, my predecessor. So we must honor her, her efforts and her 30 years helping to build this. We offer that every year. This year we started in the fall with a new platform, Film Freeway. And so there's two deadlines. There's an early deadline and there's a late deadline, the final deadline, I should say. This year that was October 31st, and then November 20th is the late deadline. Then there are 5 winners. There's 5 different categories, and the $10,000 for that. And there's a female writer, there's a grand prize winner, there's a TV screen pilot writing. There is the Oscar Michaud for an African diaspora. Like, there is a content for kids. Like, we try to really get the full circle of offerings there, all different levels of prizes. And then we announce 5 winners in the spring. And then it all starts again. So you have enough time, if you miss those deadlines, to get in your final screenplays and TV pilots for the next round.
And I've already put it in my phone calendar that in the spring, we're going to do a whole episode addressed to SIP competition, the Joan Bressler SIP competition. And we're going to advise, as somebody who is a former reader of scripts, we're going to talk to you about how to submit your screenplay in the best possible way to give you the best chance for success. Well, thank you all for joining us. Nicole and Erin and Danielle, you guys do an amazing job, and I personally am very grateful for those jobs you do. So please remember film.org, check out the site, and I really look forward to seeing everybody next time. Thank you.
Carol, thank you for being a good friend to the office too.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah.
It's super.